Welcome back to the Highlight Spiel. No Week 4 recap this show. My colleague here had baby doctor's appointments and was tied up, so we didn't get around to it this week. But we're coming with the Week 5 preview show here, and as a consolation, we're going to go ahead and throw our Heisman Watch in the Week 5 preview at the beginning. So with that being said, who's your Heisman Watch top 5 after Week 4?
Baker Mayfield at number 1, Lamar Jackson at number 2, Saquon Barkley at number 3, Kelly Bryant at number 4, and Mason Rudolph at number 5. What about you?
As for me, I got Saquon Barkley jumping up to number 1 after that awesome performance in the game that they won at the end there against Iowa. And then 2, Baker Mayfield. 3, jumping into my Heisman Watch, a guy that's had a hell of a year. Been the player of the week for you a couple weeks, and me as one as well. Rashad Penny from San Diego State. Great year they're having, and he's one of the best running backs in the country right now. 4th, Lamar Jackson from Louisville, still doing his thing. And 5th, Sam Darnold from USC. With that being said, let's go ahead and get into Week 5, and with no further ado, the Weekly Pick'em. Started off, SEC contest, Ole Miss going on the road to take on Alabama. Who do you got?
Roll Tide, baby.
Roll Tide. I'm going with Alabama as well. Indiana going on the road to Big Ten contest, taking on Penn State.
Too much Barkley.
Yeah, I'm taking Penn State too. Barkley looked impressive last week, had 12 receptions, 26 carries, over 200 yards rushing, over 100 yards receiving. Hell of a game, having a great season. You know, like I said in the beginning, they were beating people by a lot, and he wasn't getting the playing time, but I knew down the stretch he would, and that's why he stayed in my Heisman Watch. And, you know, first Big Ten game, rather, he jumped right in, back into it, and right at the top after that performance, he's number 1. And Penn State's going to handle Indiana easily. Penn State gets it done. Washington goes on the road, taking on Oregon State, Pac-12 matchup.
Washington. Oregon State lost to them. Colorado State earlier in the year.
First game, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah, Oregon State not going to be able to handle Washington at all. Washington's going to go away with that one easily. Then number 7, Georgia, SEC matchup against a preseason top 25 team, Tennessee. Butch Jones really needs a win bad there at Tennessee. Can he get one against Georgia?
No. Georgia it is.
No. They're not... I think it, could be closer than people think, but Georgia, that quarterback, true freshman Jake Fromm, really impressed me last week. He's number 2 ever in the state of Georgia high school football in passing yards, behind only Deshaun Watson. So that right there tells you something in itself, and he really impressed in that start. And I think even when Jacob Eason's fully healthy, I don't know if he's going to get that job back from Jake Fromm. He's looking impressive, and Georgia looks like the top 10 team they are, and they'll get it done against Tennessee, I think. Northwestern going on the road to take on Wisconsin.
Oh, Wisconsin.
I think Wisconsin's going to get that done there as well. Ohio State, Big Ten matchup at Rutgers.
How are they going to wipe the field with Rutgers?
I agree with that one. Ohio State's going to run away with that one easily. And then, a good game that's coming on tonight, actually. A couple good Friday night games. One of them we'll talk about later in our game of the week. But number 14, Miami, an ACC matchup going on the road to Durham to take on Duke. Duke undefeated, Miami undefeated. Miami top 15 in the country. Can they be upset by an unranked, undefeated Duke team on the road?
No, Miami.
I think this has got a potential for upset here. It really does, but I'm going to have to stick with my gut and go with Miami as well. Too much. Close game, Miami's too much. Yeah. Number 15 in the country, now Oklahoma State, coming off the loss to TCU last week. The upset loss. A lot of people didn't see TCU win that one. Oklahoma State was pretty, handled easily by TCU there, whose offense looked the best it's looked all year, and maybe the best it's looked in a couple years in that big win. Oklahoma State dropping to 15, going on the road to take on Texas Tech, who's looked more impressive than people have thought this year. What do you like?
Oklahoma State.
You think they're going to be angry and handle Texas Tech?
Mason Rudolph going to go off.
I think so too. I think Texas Tech, they got an offense that can keep up, but I think Oklahoma State's going to make that defense look silly, and Oklahoma State will run away as well. Murray State comes in to take on Louisville.
Louisville.
Lamar Jackson's going to really put up some numbers in this one, I think.
Yeah.
Depending on how much he gets to play. Louisville easily. South Florida going on the road to take on East Carolina. Number 18 in the country, South Florida. East Carolina gave Virginia Tech a little trouble in the first half, but then they ended up dogging them out in the second half, 64-17. West Virginia whooped up on East Carolina, but East Carolina's been known to trip some people up at home. And South Florida, is not a big Power 5 conference team. Can they, pull a shocker?
No, South Florida.
South Florida, but upset potential here. Watch this game. Northern Illinois at number 19, San Diego State. Rashad Penny, fresh into my Heisman watch, having one of the best seasons in the country.
San Diego State.
San Diego State. Rashad Penny does it again. Looks impressive, and they'll get it done against Northern Illinois. Vanderbilt going on the road after getting swallowed by Alabama 59-0 last week, taking on number 21 in the country, Florida. Who do you got?
Florida.
Gators?
Yeah.
Gators are going to get it done, I think, too. Vanderbilt's going to be a little angry, but this is in the swamp. They're not going to get the W. Gators will take it. Then Miami University, Miami of Ohio, goes on the road to take on number 22, Notre Dame.
Notre Dame.
Yeah, I'm still not quite sold on Notre Dame, even though they're in the rankings. They was in it and then back out and then back in it again. But they'll get it done against Miami easily. I think so. Notre Dame. Troy taking on number 25 LSU, team that had some questions, but it looked pretty decent against Syracuse last week and better than they did against Mississippi State anyway. But did they get it done against Troy?
Yes, sir.
I think LSU handles Troy easily. And now let's get into our games of the week. Started off with the Friday night contest, one of our games of the week. Number 5 in the country, USC, undefeated, going on the road in a Pac-12 matchup to take on number 16, Washington State. Another undefeated team. Mike Leach and those guys, one of the top offenses in the country, and Sam Darnold, one of the top players in the country. Great matchup here on a Friday, but who are you rolling with?
USC.
You like the Trojans to get it done against Mike Leach's squad?
Yes, sir.
So Trojans remain undefeated in his eyes, and I'm going to have to go and stick with that. I like Sam Darnold a lot. Ronald Jones, hopefully he gets to play and gets it done as well. And I think USC is going to be a little bit too much for it to handle. I think they'll get a couple stops, maybe cause a couple turnovers. Close game, shootout. USC comes out on top. And then number 24, Mississippi State, coming off the loss to Georgia, following the big win against LSU. Couldn't do the same thing to Georgia. Got manhandled in that game themselves. And they come in to take on number 13 in the country, Auburn. Who do you like?
Tough one. Mississippi State, though.
Taking Mississippi State. I like it. Listen, last week I took Mississippi State. They made me look bad. I hope that they bounce back on this one. I'm taking Mississippi State again along with you. Nick Fitzgerald and those guys, I think they can score with Auburn, and I think they can get some stops on Auburn. Auburn showed, struggle to score. Of course, last week they looked a lot better in that category, but I think that Mississippi State can get it done on the road. And then the big game, your favorite team, Virginia Tech.
Both of them, if you can't tell.
He does like Clemson a little bit too, but the third member are the trio that forms the trio of the Trio 4 Productions. He's a huge Clemson fan. These two hopefully going to be at the game. We may try and get you a little live broadcast from the Highlight Spiel there if possible. But biggest game of the week, our game of the week, number 2 in the country, Clemson, coming into Blacksburg, taking on number 12 in the country, Virginia Tech.
I'm not going against the Hokies.
He's taking his boys. Hokies, get it done. Final score prediction. Let's hear it.
56-50.
Wow, a shootout like that, you're thinking?
Not at all. That's just what I'm shooting for.
If you're going to the game, that's what you want to see. I'd be excited. So, I can dig that. But I'm expecting a defensive game in this one. Clemson's looking like the best defense in the country to me right now. Virginia Tech's always strong defensively. I think it can go down to the wire. Blacksburg's a tough place to play, tough environment. But I'm going to have to roll with Clemson this again. I've really got behind them. Florida State was my ACC pick early after Francois went down, though. I really liked what I've seen from Clemson and started rolling with them. And they're one of my favorite teams in the country this year and one of my favorite teams to get back to the playoff as well. And I'm rolling with the Tigers here. I think Kelly Bryant and that offense gets it done. And that defense causes some turnovers and causes some trouble for Josh Jackson, the freshman. And they get it done in Blacksburg. Tigers. All right, let's talk upset alert. What team you putting on upset alert this week?
Miami. They're going to an undefeated Duke squad in Durham. And you seen what happened last time they went there. They had a win off a kick return
crazy.
lateral type pass play.
Yeah,
So
it's like old Cal, remind you of old Cal Stanford when the band was on the field, and then they didn't. I mean, they created some magic there. So
Yeah, that's my upset though.
I like the pick. I can see it happening. Going to be a great game tonight. We'll see what happens. We both went with Miami, but Duke could definitely get it done. I'm going to go ahead and put Auburn on upset alert. You've seen I picked Mississippi State, so I definitely think they can get it done. Auburn's going to be on upset alert for me. They struggled earlier in the year to score. Last week, they, like I said, they did a little bit better in the scoring department, but I don't know if that against that Mississippi State defense that's going to remain the case. And I like Nick Fitzgerald on offense. I think Dan Mullen's really good with quarterbacks. You've seen what he done with Tim Tebow, Florida, and then Dak Prescott, and then now Nick Fitzgerald's looking really great as well. And I think Mississippi State's going to bounce back from that loss to Georgia. And I got Auburn on upset alert. X Factor of the week. Who's your X Factor of the week? Week 5.
Oh, my boys, VT, Virginia Tech's defense. We got to have a nice little game. Shut the old Kelly Bryant and their run game down. That's what I'm hoping for, at least.
I can see it. I like that. Solid pick. As for me, my X Factor, Washington State quarterback Luke Falk in the game tonight against USC. Sam Darnold's the Heisman candidate, but Mike Leach always has quarterbacks putting up numbers. That's been no different with Luke Falk throughout his career. One of the best careers there's been, and he's having a great senior year. 430 some yards last week and 5 touchdowns, I do believe. If he can come out and show out against USC, maybe we're talking about him for the Heisman next week rather than Sam Darnold. Keep his team undefeated, beat a top 5 squad. He can really help himself out, and for his team to win, Luke Falk's going to have an impressive game. So he's my X Factor. And then let's talk boosting the Heisman campaign. Who's your campaign boosting candidate in Week 5?
Oh, I'm going to go with Kelly Bryant. He got to have a A1 game against a good-ass defense if he's going to stay on my Heisman list.
I agree. Kelly Bryant's got to have to show out against that Virginia Tech defense.
For them to win, hopefully.
Oh, yeah.
What about you? Who you got?
And for me, I went Luke Falk for the X Factor for Washington State, but boosting the Heisman campaign, if he gets the win, Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold right now sitting at 5th on my list, but he's taking on a top 15 team on the road. And, if he can get it done against those boys, then that really shows you something. He's got to have that poise. And, they're talking he could be an NFL star. This right here is going to have to show it. Can you go on the road and get wins against quality squads? He's placing another quality squad. He's probably going to put up points. He's probably going to have to do some scoring himself. And if he does, he can move up in that Heisman. So Sam Darnold can boost his Heisman campaign this week in Week 5. All right, that'll wrap us up for Week 5 preview show on the Highlight Spiel. Join us after the games, and we'll talk about it on the Week 5 recap show coming up. Hopefully, we'll go live from the Clemson-Virginia Tech game. We'll see how it goes. If not, we'll be able to recap it with the bird's eye view from a first-person perspective there. My man's going to the game. Well, hopefully he comes back with the squad with a win. If not, I'll probably be wearing this and just saying he was cheering for them the whole time. So we'll see how it goes. This has been the Highlight Spiel brought to you by Trio 4 Productions. Thank you guys for watching. I'm Jordan.
I'm Fletch.
Thank you.